Ahoy there, Legion! 'Tis the Monday after a dev stream, so you know we got a recap and review for ya. Devstream 85, first one of 2017. Previous years, DE would make bold statements and promises during this type of stream, but they were extremely careful to not overstate anything this time around, so instead we got a bunch of little details and hints of things that they'd like to see arrive this year. So let's hit those big targets first. Hema costs ain't changing. DE admitted the costs are far too high, and thankfully this was totally the first time they did something like this, but at the end of the ordeal they did say they want to increase the drop rate of mutagen samples to address the issue, similarly to what they eventually did with Oxium in the past, as Vauban Prime owners are all too familiar with. Next up, Nullifiers. They get nerfed or what? Well, depends on your definition. Currently, DE is aiming to add an Osprey-like robot that hovers around the surface of the bubble that you gotta destroy to take out the disrupted tech. This seems to be just an added layer of what it currently is, so fast-firing weapon folks don't worry, but fans of slow-firing weapons like snipers are gonna be happy. The Kua Fortress is a whole lot of nothing. Clear it out and do assault once, but with zero rewards or reasons to draw you back in, it's a one and done. They are looking to add more content to the tile set to fix that. I've been saying for months that I'd like to see Rivens have a decent drop chance on the third cache found, but based on the murmurs on stream, it's not a popular idea among the devs, so we'll see what they cook up for us. Damage 3.0. This one is interesting. Short version, as we could probably fill an entire video just on this. Instead of baking in mandatory mods to help clear up space and offer more room for creative builds, Riven mods are apparently good enough, so they're not going to do that after all. This would also have offered them an opportunity to rebalance all weapons across the board, deal with power creep in one swift blow, but ironically, Damage 3.0 is not even going to touch damage at all. Instead, they're going to add more difficult enemies with strategic gameplay elements. This likely ties into the Nullifier changes we mentioned. For an example, they said God of War was at its best when you had a ton of cannon fodder surrounding a big meaty target in the middle. Someone mentioned Acolytes and Warframe, and DE agreed to do something along those lines. Personally, I disagree with this, as this isn't so much a renewed emphasis on skill checks, but just enforcing gear checks on top of that. Generally in games, you either have a gear check, say, do I have enough fire resistance to fight the lava boss, or skill checks, pretty much everything in Dark Souls. Now imagine Dark Souls, where it requires you to have a specific loadout per boss or even enemy. That completely removes the skill element to the equation. Of course, not every single loadout should be catered to, but each should be an option. That's the whole point of skill. Knowing a melee weapon might not be the best choice against a ranged target, but having enough skill to counteract that disadvantage and still coming out on top is skill gaming incarnate. To say they're aiming to require skill and to limit our loadouts with required damage mods upon each weapon doesn't really add up. In brighter news, the upcoming Bard frame will feature deployable abilities. Each sport in their own tunes you can program on a step sequencer. Not only that, her idle animations are locked to the beat of her tunes, so if you modify her abilities a certain way, she'll bop around faster or slower to match, which is a cool little feature. Overall, I really like how she's turning out idea-wise, but since we haven't seen any of her abilities in action yet, got my fingers crossed for little Miss DJ. Console Squad, didn't forget about you. The Glass Gambit's headed your way in about 2 weeks, along with snazzy HDR for Xbox S, and surprisingly both PlayStation Pro and PlayStation 4. Y'all getting that tech before PC, by the way. I guess that means y'all get to bug test that for us this time around, so have fun with that one. The infested pet you might have seen walking around will look more infested and less like a charger in the near future, along with a permanent removal option for anyone stuck with a certain space STD on their neck. Now for the ending tidbits, Frost Deluxe skin scheduled for this week. Valkyrie Prime's promo video is also due sometime this month. Ambulus is getting a rework along with other Corpus bosses. Nevanio's boss battle might actually pop back up in the game, but not before Forward, so farm those rare mats while you can, Legion. And finally, 4K UI, Zephyr Deluxe skin, Earth Outdoor tile set remaster, new Orbiter and Dojo decorations, Focus rework, and Limbo's rework might be close enough to feature on the next dev stream, but based on their mannerisms, I'd say that's more likely the one following that. So there you have it, Legion, Devstream 85 recap and reviewed. Honestly, outside of Damage 3.0's weirdness, the rest of the news looked pretty good. But what do you think about them? Any news you liked a lot? Maybe something not so much? Let us know in a comment below. If this recap helped you out or brought a smile to your face, we'd be honored if you'd like, favorite, and share this video with your fellow Tenno. You know we appreciates it when you does, and it really helps us out. As always, thank you for watching, and catch you next time, Legion. Take care.